And welcome everyone to another video. And this video is another little announcement for me to say that I put out another poetry book. This one is called Raised by Bruises. This is a poetry book about my life when I was growing up living with my grandmother, who was not a nice person. She is the main focal point of my original Storytime series, and occasionally on my sequel to that series. She was very abusive. She's still alive, but I haven't lived with her since I finished high school in 2015. She put me through a lot of abuse, through physical and mental abuse. And these poems are a collection of my self-hatred for myself, because of how she made me feel, about the abuse I went through, the types of abuse I went through, and how even to this day, the year 2025, I've been out of the house for 10 years. I still can't get over it fully what I went through, and I even have a diagnosis of PTSD. Now, this is my longest poetry book that I have written so far, coming in at 39 pages. And this one, I put more work into in terms of the structure, so that poems have their own pages, and they also include images. I've included 12 pictures inside the book, in between that section off each poem. One of the pictures is a picture of me and her. She is looking at the camera in the picture. I am sitting next to her, am not. I am looking away from the camera, and I'm not smiling. I think you can put two and two together on why. And also, I'm sure you can see through the watermark through KDP that puts on there the cover art for my book. I'm very proud of this book. I put a lot more work into this poetry book than I have with the other 3 poetry books that I've written. This is different than my first poetry book. It's personal, a collection of personal poems. It's different than my 2-part word series, Words That Make Me Whole and Words from the Heart, which mainly focused on my 9-year relationship ending and how it was a horrible experience. Not the breakup, but the actual relationship. This one is about an abusive family member I had to live with for so long, and some of the things that she put me through. I'm very big with my love of free verse poetry and confessional poetry, because free verse, you have less rules to play by. You have more freedom to make your poem how you want it to be, and it can follow a narrative that is personal, a personal story. And so my poems are always free verse, but they're also mixed with confessional poetry, because so many of my poems are how I feel or what I've been through in the past. And I try to make it clear that not all poetry is sunshine and rainbows. Not all poetry is cheerful or about nature or something you love. Poetry is also about hurt and pain and suffering, and how people can be broken inside but look happy on the outside. And I show that in a lot of my poetry. I'm not a perfect poet. I am not one of the greats, but I'm just a guy who writes poetry, who's been writing poetry since the 8th grade, and how over time it became much less of a hobby and more so a coping mechanism. And then one day I learned that I could put them myself into a book for other people to read, so that they can relate to things I've been through, because abuse happens all the time. In many families, people suffer at the hands of their own loved ones. People who are supposed to love us, take care of us, and cherish us are the same people who will hurt us and spit on us when we're down. So I have a lot of emotional weight into this book than I have with the other books I've written. And I want to thank you all for watching this and listening to me to talk and describe some of the things I feel and what I've been through. And I hope that if you do get a copy of this book, and if you relate to any of the poems, that it helps you get by day to day. I hope that it helps you remember that you aren't alone in this, that you aren't the only one that went through this. I went through it. You went through it. Other people have went through it. But the important thing is we're still here. We're still alive and we're still breathing. And now we're able to tell our stories and read other stories that we can relate to. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.